Hello everyone, it's a pleasure to be here. I would like to thank UXDX for inviting me to share a bit of my experience with you all. First, I would like to share my background. My name is Amanda Apple. I'm married and the mother of two children. I'm an experienced product leader executive with more than 10 years working in the finance and retail industry, and I have helped large enterprises accelerate their digital transformation. My previous job at Itau allowed me to participate from the beginning of the digital transformation of a large bank. We had started in 2014. I remember when the vice president came back from Silicon Valley and decided to implement a new way of working, agile. We then started working with a few squads. There is no doubt that technology can significantly improve performance, and we know that first movers have an advantage. At first glance, it seems that it's impossible to shift a sales-led company to a product-led one, but it can be done. Transformations are hard, and digital ones are even harder. You can use a framework to complete it, but you need to remember there is no one size fits all. And because of that, I believe that is extremely important for us to be here discussing this topic. And in this session, I'm going to share how the transformation journey of Via e-commerce platform, which is the company that I present work. And I will cover in this talk the things that I learned through my experience. Before I begin, I would like to provide you with the background of Via. Via is a brick-and-mortar retail chain of stores which sells home furniture, electronics, etc. And it was founded 60 years ago and has more than 50,000 employees. In 2020, they were in the middle of a company turnaround. The company was focused on increasing its revenue, expand its market share, streamline its cost, and was trying to play the catch up with its competitors, and was focused on developing and delivering new features for their customers. And the big question for me was, how could I start to implement the digital transformation for this company within this scenario? And one of the first significant things that I learned is that digital transformation is a mindset change, and the mindset change is made by people. So always we start with them. Investigate and understand the environment that you are in and the people you work with, and try to create connections with them. And I believe that the best way of doing this is like I did, is to jump on a call. And I did that on a virtual call because I was in the middle of a lockdown here in Brazil, and try to know my team, my partners, and stakeholders. And I believe that is also important to try to ask them the same questions, to hear their different perspectives. And I'm going to share with you some example of the questions that I asked. What are the company goals? Is the company performing well or not? What are the biggest challenges? What work and does not work in the company? What could we do differently? There are other indirect questions which you do not have to ask. However, through your conversation, you will need to try to search for the answers. They are: who are the influencers in the company? What is admired, expected, and conversely, what is not tolerated there? Why do people enjoy working here? And this moment of reflection after your onboarding is really important to guide you through your next steps. And what I would strongly recommend, which was the second major thing that I learned, is to obtain the buy-in where it matters. I had seen at Itaú how important was for the leaders to work on their social status within the company. Because when leading a digital transformation, changes are going to be necessary and they can take a lot of people out of their comfort zone and feel uncomfortable. So, understand the cultural environment that you are in. You must start to work on social status by showing your empathy and obtain credibility from your team, partners, and stakeholders. You have to conquer the buy-in where it matters, and empathy and credibility are going to help you. Empathy, because as a new hire, you can't start by criticize everything and then promoting a lot of change. First, you need to try to understand why things work in a certain way. What were the paths that the company took to bring it to fruition? This is an excellent mindset to pursue as someone who was recently hired, as in my case. And besides that, you have to show credibility, which is the quality of being trustworthy by the company. And I believe that without empathy and credibility, you have few chance to be successful in a digital transformation. Because you need to remember, you are not trying to change the process you are in. You are trying to change the company mindset. So how did I achieve the buy-in where it matters? I understood that in order to prove myself as a competent leader and obtain credibility at VIA, I had to show that I was capable of delivering. And I took advantage of a critical moment of the company. The moment was March of 2020. Brazil implemented a lockdown, and all the stores of VIA were closed, and our digital channels at that point didn't have many options for order exchange or refund on purchase. This was my chance to make a substantial change. And I gathered all my team, shared with them the context and how important would be for the company that we deliver this in the shortest time possible. And after 1.5 months of really hard work, we released it with great success. So after understanding the environment and gain respect from the company, I was able and empowered to work on setting the product vision and strategy for the product. And here is the third lesson. You have to engage everyone in setting the future direction of the company. At the heart of any successful product vision, you must have everyone on board. I remember a time at Itau when we were remaking our product vision and strategy for our mobile app, and my leader completed this exercise without sharing it with other departments and stakeholders. At that time, we decided which were the most important products and services for the app that we would invest. And as a side conflict, we weren't aligned with other departments, and it caused for us numerous disagreements when we were trying to implement those strategies. So, for you to be successful, your product vision strategy, you must listen to all the key people that you work with. It doesn't mean that you have to pull all the people together in a room, but it means that you have to gather all the information possible with them to establish your product vision. Everyone must be onboarding for you to be successful. So at VIA, I used that as a learning process. And when I was doing the product vision strategy, I gathered all the information possible with my team, partners, and stakeholders, and also share with them my evolution to see if there was common agreement. And another important aspect of your vision and strategy is keep it simple. Complexity is the enemy of trust because it creates confusions, doubts, and misunderstandings. And the fourth thing that I learned, and which is one of the most important one, is even if your company is not pressing to through a digital transformation, there is no over communication. Communication is never too much. And why I'm saying that? Because a lot of people are used to work in a certain way. And when you are doing a transformation, you need to implement new ways of working, like agile, product management, test and learn methods. And people are going to be pushed out of their comfort zone. They are not going to understand why the company is doing that direction, and they are going to feel insecure and afraid. So communication is a key success factor. Be willing to cover the same ground more than once. Not everyone will understand it and support it at the first time. At VIA, I use all the opportunities that I can to share the product vision that we settled with my team, partners, and stakeholders. And the final thing that I learned is there is no one size fits all, even in the same company. You also need to implement new ways of working step by step. As I mentioned at the beginning of my talk, the bank had started its digital transformation in 2014. And in 2020, the year I left, they still hadn't yet completed the transformation company-wide. And when I arrived at VIA, they were trying to implement the new ways of working for the whole company all at once. And I personally could see why that wasn't a good strategy. Imagine the company being over 60 years old, 50,000 employees, and numerous departments, all in a divergent degree of maturity. Through that, you can be assured of failure if you do all the implementation at once. And as a lesson learned, we took some backward steps within the critical department to allow us to move forward. 2 years have passed since the beginning of our digital transformation, and I can tell you all we had undertaken and conquered a lot of change, but we are still in the process of achieving a product-led company. Finally, I would like to leave you all with the message that transformation is hard and digital ones is hardened. So remember to first is a mindset change. So always start by understanding the environment and the people that you work with. Second, obtain the buy-in by showing your empathy and credibility. Third, engage everyone in setting the direction the company needs to move forward. Fourth, communication is a key factor and is never too much. And the final one, there is no one size fits all, even in the same company. Thanks again for letting me participate, and please feel free to reach me out through my LinkedIn.